Thank you for listening to Scandinavian Crimes Podcast. Be sure to check out the episode links and be part of our other social media platforms where you can leave a topic suggestion or even share some of your insights regarding the subject matter of the episode. We will always do our best to provide a well-researched episode, but sometimes due to limited access to information and translation issues, some information can be lost. It is therefore good to do your own research and get a deeper understanding of a case of your own interest. So with that all said, let us start today's episode.
Welcome to Scandinavian Crimes. My name is Devante, and say hello to my lovely co-host, Delila.
Hi.
And on this podcast, we cover famous Scandinavian criminals who made their mark throughout Scandinavian history. So last week, we did an update on the Breivik case, which, as we know, updates of last week were included in the Scandinavian region. Well, today, we're going to be talking about something that happened in the States. I like to do this every once in a while to kind of keep you guys up to date on current events around the world and this dystopian area we call the United States. So this particular topic is very interesting and very scary because this is regarding this whole Mississippi jail investigation where a mother was looking for her son after he left her home. And basically, he was killed by a police officer's, basically a patrol car. And instead of notifying the family, he did have identification on him. Instead of notifying the family, they buried him in like right behind this jail cemetery. Now, it wasn't like an official cemetery. It was more like a unmarked grave that some prisons do if they feel like they can't reach people, just to bury some bodies and loosen up space inside. Now, the reason this got so big over here, if I remember correctly, and Dahlia can always correct me, is the fact that not only did Dexter, who was the victim and had state identification on him, was he killed and then not notified. This sparked this huge investigation where there were other instances of this dating back, I think about 10 years or more, where there was hundreds of bodies. So it's just really crazy to hear stuff like this, where if that boy, I said boy, but if Dexter didn't go missing, it would have never brought to light this whole situation where hundreds of bodies were missing that other families never got notified. And this is considered one of the more craziest forms of corruption in terms of police, the correction officers, and the prisons, I guess how they operate in general. But go ahead, Delila, I'll just let you do your thing.
So basically the things that I wanted to talk about is that obviously other victims' names and cases have also been unraveled thanks to, but I mean due to Dexter's case. And to me, I mean, I get why the police would have tried to hush the situation with the Dexter case, because I assume they accidentally killed him with the car, but we don't really know if that happened. I don't even know how they could determine that. Maybe they did an autopsy. I don't know. But based on the information that we have, it just feels like it would make sense for them to conceal whatever happened to Dexter and just be like, oh, he's gone. We are trying our best to find him. But obviously they were the ones who committed the crimes. But if you look at the other victims, it just seems like, why did you guys bury them? Why didn't you just notify the families? Because based on the other cases, it just seemed like the police didn't really do it to them. It was something else that made them die, but they just didn't want to notify it, and then they buried them. So that's why I'm a little bit confused about the other victims. Or not all of them, but some of the victims. I'm just why didn't they notify it? It didn't sound like they were trying to. It didn't sound like the police did it, but maybe, I don't know, maybe they did, I don't know.
But that's what makes this kind of trippy, because they didn't notify them. And in this case as well with Dexter, he was killed by police.
I mean, he was,
accidental on
but like the
purpose.
other case, it didn't
Yeah,
seem.
but also that's what I'm saying. Like, so if they killed him and then covered it up and buried him in that unmarked cemetery or whatever, you really think this is the first time? Because why would that be their first instinct, that was the first time? Like, oh, I accidentally killed somebody, let me go to this place. That's not something that happens on a first time basis for anyone, which means there seems to be, at least in my opinion, remember this is all speculation from me, there seems to be like, this is not the first time a situation like that might have arisen, where someone's gotten killed or something that happened wasn't supposed to happen, and they covered it up and they went to this prison with hundreds of other people in unmarked graves and just didn't say anything. And that's kind of been the go-to, because like I said, if these cops really did it for the first time, it was an accident, why is that your first thing to do? And whether the cops who hit them themselves thought of it, or if the people at the police station or whoever the superiors are thought of it, it's still iffy in regards to like, yeah, he had an identification on him. That's my whole thing about it.
I could tell you about another victim. The other victim that I was thinking about was Mario Terrell Moore. So Mario was basically, based on the report she received when she Mario's sister went to the police department to get more information about what is going on, what happened to her brother. And then she received more information from the police department saying that he was bludgeoned. I don't know what that, like, I guess it was like a blunt object
He
hitting.
was like blunt force. Yeah.
To death. And he was wrapped in a tarp and left on the street. So here we don't really know who did what. So that's why I'm thinking like maybe the police department just, like, if it was them, obviously, because otherwise they wouldn't have tried to hide the evidence, then why didn't they, they just make it seem like this happened, he got hurt and he was left on the street, and then we kind of buried him. So that's why I was like, this doesn't really make any sense. But now that I think about it, it would be making more sense if, the police actually did hurt or did hurt him.
I think like I don't think all of them are caused by the police, but I think
that's what, if it wasn't though, why would they do that? Like that's how I'm like, if it wasn't the police fault and everything, why would they? Is it maybe like maybe the police had relations with, like, for example, if the police officer had a son that did it? Do you mean like that, or like? Because like I don't understand. I just mean like in general. It's like, it seems like it's a combination of negligence and simply when the police make a mistake, instead of being like, hey, we did this, they would rather cover it up and then sweep it under the rug. So, but even though things like, that had nothing to do with the police at all.
That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying all of them has something to do with the police. I'm saying it's a combination of negligence in terms of, let's say someone got killed by other means, instead of reporting it properly, they just don't deal with it. They just like, well, let's get rid of the body and go about our day.
That's just stupid to me. That is.
But there's evidence of that. Not even just simply throughout history. It still happens today on a much smaller scale. Negligence. So I think it's a combination of negligence and just maybe some fishy stuff going on, but I don't think that was the first time a cop has done that. And let's say if like I said, most of the bodies in there, I'm pretty sure is not from police, but I'm pretty sure a good chunk of it is from outright negligence from either corrections officers in the prison where this took place, and also the police, who obviously had connections to the prison to bury bodies in the first place. So that's also what this investigation is about, because people, basically they wanted to sue the county, and supposedly, according to the mayor, he was like, oh, there was no wrongdoing, even from the first case alone with Dexter, you did not report him missing. He had identification on him, so you negligently, even after the cop hit them, you still took his body, buried him, or attempted to, and didn't notify anybody.
Even the internal investigation by his mom was like, this is easy. Like he and maybe his team, I don't know, was able to identify so many bodies and the victims and everybody. And the funny thing is, even though in Mario as well, like many of the victims, family members, friends, or whatever, heard most of the news, most of it from the news,
and then they had to find out
and then
themselves,
they had to go to the police department to get more information, and that's just
which
crazy.
Is negligence.
That's crazy. That is so crazy to me. And how many bodies were there? Were like 250.
It was like 200 and something bodies over the course of
years.
Like I said, over 10 years.
For no reason at all.
So there were families who, like I said, I know in some cases people go to prison, they don't have family. It happens sometimes, but I'm pretty confident
it's not them to decide. It doesn't matter if the victims have families or not, though. So
yeah, I'm like, in reality, they still need to be notified, and just this whole thing puts into question the integrity of the prison, the police in that county, and based on the mayor's answer, the mayor as well. So this is the whole reason why I was like, I wanted to talk about it, because, you know, stuff like, I don't know if this exists obviously in other parts of the world, because I can only speak from...
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised though. Like I'm pretty sure it does exist everywhere. I guess like corruption is everywhere.
Absolutely.
So like I do truly believe that it happens everywhere. It's just that in this case, in America or Mississippi specifically, they got busted. So they got caught. But other places don't really get caught though. But, you know, I'm glad that we're talking about this, because I do believe that the police in every country has different degrees of corruption, but there's definitely corruption, you know.
So I guess I'll say this for the most part, and you already know it's going to be related to how, like, usually what I say at the end of the podcast, I'm going to say in the middle, but it's a little different. I will say, especially if you have someone who's in a prison system, or who you haven't seen in a while, haven't heard from in a while, it's always best to check up on people, especially people you care about, because you never know like what could be going on in this world. Now, I still firmly believe, depending on the country, is it less likely because, you know, America is a clown show that's been set on fire since spiraling down a hill. You know, so I know it's a little different. It's a very inefficient place, so I know this can happen far more frequently here than anywhere else. I'm a firm believer. But if you see anything or seem like things might be suspicious, like someone you should have heard from and haven't, then sometimes you might have to make a few phone calls, because situations like this can happen. And it doesn't even have to be just about prisons. It can be about anything. You know, there are cases that have happened even over here where people have gone missing, and then family never knew. And then because the family never knew, or they assumed like, oh, maybe they just, you know, don't want to talk to the family anymore, or whatever the case may be, the person is dead this whole time, and then the person who killed them is floating under the radar because no one is looking into it. And you can never know who it is. You know, it's been multiple times where partners have killed, whoever they were dating or married to, and then the family just assumed like, oh, I just assumed they were living their life. So I would just say, reach out to people, make sure they're okay, try and figure out, you know, like, hey, just checking in, because, you know, you never know, unfortunately. And more so, obviously, for myself, who lives in this burning buffoonery clown show we call United States, you know, I have to make sure to check in with family and friends, because as you can tell, a lot of stuff happens over here, and not like frequently as in like every second of every day. Like as soon as you go outside, you're going to just deal with something like this, but it happens way more frequently than it should. That's the point I'm making. So just reach out to people, call them, check on them, make sure stuff like this doesn't happen, and just gotta look out for each other at the end of the day. But as this unfolds, as we find out more information,
I just wanted to say that I think it's important to also fight for yourself and because like nobody, like authorities or anybody who is might not always be on your side. So you all also have to like really fight for yourself and as well, to get your your rights basically. So I also want to point out that obviously you have to take care of each other and your family and your friends, but also you have to fight for your rights as well. Unfortunately, nobody's on your side except obviously your closest friends and family members.
And be sure to remember as well that in general, when it comes to fighting for your rights, some people think it's strictly possibly just a racial thing. It's not. It's a power dynamic thing. Some people like to abuse their power and they feel like they're above the law, and it's unfortunate, but that's why, like Delila said, you have to fight for your right, your ability to, speak up for yourself, because people will try and gaslight you into thinking you shouldn't have that ability.
Minimize your experience, everything. So you have to, especially if you're a minority, you have to fight for your rights. And it sucks, but, it's tiring, but nobody's going to help you except for you. So
minority and women. So
women are minorities. So.
I want to specify, because when people say minority, they usually mean like racial minority. So at least over here, maybe, like I said, it's when people say minority, they're usually referring to like an ethnic minority. Versus,
there are levels of minorities. There are also a lot of information on that on the internet. If you guys are interested in that, just read. It's actually very interesting. A lot of studies on that as well. Social structures, everything, all of that. But we unfortunately don't have time to talk about this huge topic, but it is very interesting.
Yeah. But, as things unfold about this case, we probably won't do like another episode about it per se, depending on what details come out.
Or an update or something.
We might just like I said, on social media, we might just, start posting more about some of these updates that don't make it to episodes, but we'll make posts about them instead. So that way, have a nice friendly chat on Facebook and just, move on from there when it comes to like cases like this that are not specifically about Scandinavia. But, that we'll leave that up to y'all. If y'all like it,
we might do like as well, like topics that do not have to be surrounding and completely about Scandinavia. So
yeah.
So
things that
it
affect,
might be popping up depending on how like huge that topic is.
Yeah. But just be on the lookout for those things. But hopefully it's just a nice little episode to let you know current events. And next week we have some nice, juicy, detailed, succulent case that's going to come up. That was the case.
It's a long one.
Yeah, it's going to be a long one. So we wanted to give you guys like a little bit of a warm up before we get to the long one.
Yeah.
Instead of just jumping you in after, the New Year's episode and just, the update of Breivik. So we just wanted to warm you up, get you nice and
warm you guys up,
just sweeten you up a little bit. So I guess let's end the episode on a good note. What you got in mind?
Croissant.
Croissant.
The thing is, it's the reason I say this is because I saw a video of a guy going into a shop like full of it was a shop just with croissants. I don't know how to say that. I'm sorry, all the French people out there. You guys probably want to murder me right now, and I'm sorry. I'm trying.
That's so negative.
Yeah. So that's what I like to eat.
I think. I'm not craving anything in particular, to be honest with you.
That's fine. You can just eat air.
I will filter feed. But I think I'll just do something really simple. It's not like food, but
Water?
It's actually getting super cold in the States, and I think I can go for the ginger peach tea I had earlier was very nice, warm, homey.
I like ginger.
Ginger's good for you, just
with some lemon and honey.
But that's what I'm gonna go with for today. Something basic. I know it's not me, but
It's fine.
But if you enjoyed the episode, But if you enjoyed the episode, be sure to leave us a little 5 stars or 4 stars, whatever.
Leave
us a nice
them
review.
to put a 5-star.
Leave us.
You better. No, I'm just kidding.
But if you enjoyed the episode, give us a nice review on whatever podcasting platform you're listening to. So that way, we can reach more people and also just make this so much more inclusive and fun and
together.
Just do this together,
Forever.
So yeah, I hope you guys have a good day and enjoy yourselves, and we shall catch you in the next one, the nice juicy long one. Pause. Bye.